Hey there, welcome to Women Blazing Trails. My name is Eva. You already know that. You should know that if you've been following me and paying attention. I have a really super cool guest today. I am beyond thrilled to have her here because, as you guys know, I talk a lot about changing your life and facing your fear and all those crazy things, but she's going to take us on a different journey today. Mylene, my beautiful guest, isn't she fucking gorgeous? Mylene just went back to school and graduated from college or university. You guys call it something different in the States, right?
Right. Well, we call it grad school. So it's post undergrad. So
Okay.
yeah, grad
Okay.
school.
So she just graduated. Did you just graduate this year?
Yeah, I graduated on May 7th.
Oh my God. Like just recently. I didn't even know that. Congratulations.
Just recently.
Yay.
Thank you.
So she's going to tell us about, and I know, and I'm so glad she's here sharing her story with us, because I know a lot of women are, and I just talked about this on my last video last week. You can go check it. I'm too old. It's too late. It's no use. I don't need more time. What's the point? I'm already 50. I'm already whatever. We all have all these bullshit fucking excuses as to why we don't do the things we really want to do. So I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let Mylene take the floor. But before we get started, I want to ask, first of all, if you could you can introduce yourself, though I already have.
Absolutely.
Just give us a little background, like what did you do before, like work wise, and then we can transition to that.
Sure. I'd love to give, thank you. A quick bio. First of all, thanks for having me. I appreciate this opportunity to share my story, and my goal, my desire is to have women inspired to take the next step, whatever it might be, that those dreams are not dying inside of them, and that they believe that they have what it takes and that they can get to where they want to go. I believe in every woman who wants that. So I really appreciate the opportunity. My short, as they say on the internet, too long didn't read story is I'm from the Midwest. I lived there most of my life. I married fairly young. After that marriage ended, and I do have 2 children and I have grandchildren. So I had the typical stay-at-home experience. The marriage ended and I found myself without a career. I did have an undergrad in communications, but I had been a part-time job hopper basically. And those things only last for so long. When you're a mom who's home nurturing your kids and doing all the things that it takes to be a present stay-at-home mom, I just didn't pursue things for myself. Okay. So after my marriage ended, I decided it was time to go back to school. And I had the absolute fortune and privilege that I could make that choice.
So you didn't have a career like while you were married? Like, I understand.
No,
I don't want
I was a stay-at-home mom.
I don't want anybody throwing rotten tomatoes at me. Being a mom is a fucking job. What's the matter with you? But so you had you didn't have like a career before.
No, I was okay. No, a little bit more granular. I graduated from high school in 85. That's when I started college. I literally did not graduate from my undergrad until 2010 because I started having kids. Okay. And I delayed and finally graduated and got out of college in 2010. Terrible job market right after the housing crash. Right. Didn't go anywhere with that. And then continued to be a stay-at-home mom. And so no, my career, and it is work and it is a career, being a stay-at-home mom is worthy of great honor and respect and tons of energy and time. But that's what I did. I also educated my kids at home. I was a homeschooling mom as well. So I was very deep into the home for 29 years.
Wow, that's great. Good for you.
Yeah.
And look, I mean, I can't even, I have to say, when I first met Mylene and she was like, oh yeah, I talk about midlife. I'm like, you look 25. What the fuck do you know about midlife? So you've raised family, homeschooled, did all that, married 20 years, and you're like, what, 55 or something?
I'm 54, Eva, 54. Slow it down. I'll be 55 in July.
Oh, you're like the fountain of youth. Girl,
very God. I appreciate that. I think living in a colder climate keeps you a little bit more preserved because you don't get as much sun.
No, it makes you mental. It doesn't do that.
Well, that's the thing. If you have seasonal affective, it's not great for you, but I appreciate the compliments. Thank you. Moisturizer. That's great. So
Anyway, so let's get into when you left you divorced and then you were on your own. So what was it, the deciding factor that you just kind of said, you know what, I'm ready to go back to school, or I think what was the deciding factor that made you take that leap to do that?
So for me, I knew that I had to build a career because I had left a lifestyle behind and I was on my own for the first time ever in my
Okay.
life. I was one of those women that went from my parents' home to my married home at a young age. And yeah, you too, right? And
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
lots of us, and that's okay. And if that's where you still are, that is amazing. This is
Hmm.
not a call to upend your life and walk out of what you love. But for me, I knew I needed to go back and I needed to do something that could provide income because I didn't have any income. And so it's a pretty scary thing to be looking at your mid 50s and realizing that, it's all on you now.
Yeah.
So I decided, and I moved a couple times after my marriage ended, trying to find the right place, the right fit. I wanted to be somewhere warm. So I left the upper Midwest. And once I found my spot, which is Nashville, I decided to go ahead and go back to school. And I went to grad school to become a marriage and family therapist.
Nice.
Yeah, I love the field. I love the field. And I just knew that I needed a job that would take me into my 70s that I could do that wouldn't require a ton of physical drain should I
Right.
need to have that as a concern. And I
Hmm.
wanted a passion. And for me, there had always been a passion about how the mind worked, the things that we struggled with, and how to go forward through those and how to consider getting out of them. So I knew it was a good fit for me.
So did you work while you were in school? Like, did you find a job eventually and then go to school at the same time?
I was able to not work while I was in grad school. I
Nice.
was fortunate. The ending of my marriage worked out in a sense. I had some ability to do some things that other people might not be able to do.
Gotcha.
I also, in the window of going to grad school, did remarry. So there was some changes that took place, beautiful, wonderful changes.
Oh, exciting.
And yeah, so you think about the things that are the most stressful in your life, grad school and remarriage. And I love being married, but there was a lot going on for me during that time. So I absolutely had to choose that I was still going to go forward despite being remarried and do what I wanted for myself because it was time. I
Right.
loved raising a family, but I was ready. When I hit 50, I knew I was ready to start focusing on myself and going towards the things that I wanted.
Right.
Not that, and it's not, there's nothing wrong with somebody who chooses something different. It's okay if you want to stay and be grandma who takes care of the babies, or you love being in the home and you just can't imagine anything more fulfilling. That is all allowed. But for
Yeah.
me, I knew I wanted to go ahead and get started. I felt like I had been waiting.
That's awesome. And you said something, you said that you were fortunate enough to you didn't have to work while you were going to school. And somebody had sent me an email this morning asking me about, because I made my big transition from being a hairdresser in Northern
Mhm,
Ontario, Canada, to, but now I
mhm.
run two websites and I live in Guatemala. And she says, how did you do it? How did you support yourself financially? I said, well, I mean, I was on my own, so I had to figure shit out. So I was cutting hair still, and that was supporting me while I was working on my other career, not
Right,
even knowing if I was going to make it or break it. Like, I
right,
had no fucking, I had no clue. I thought, you
right.
know what, I'm just going to take a stab and try this and see what works. So independent of the fact that Melaine was very, very fortunate that she didn't have to work while she was in school, you can look at the flip side of that with myself as an example. Though I didn't go to school, I recreated completely
Mhm.
recreated and reinvented my life.
Absolutely.
While I was working, I did that. So
Right.
it's all about determination and how bad you want it. And that's what I said to the lady who emailed me. I said, it's determination and perseverance. How bad do you want it? You can do anything when you put your mind to it. And a lot of people, oh, I have no money for that. You figure it out. You
Right.
figure it out. The
Well,
universe, I mean,
yes.
the answers aren't just going to show up on your lap. When you want something, how do I do it? You're going to make it work. So how do I do it? So for women who, let's say there's a woman who is interested in going to school,
Mhm.
or she's got, she's limiting beliefs. I'm too old. I'm too scared. I'm too whatever, whatever. What do you tell? What can you? Because I know you coach women, right? Into
I do. I
you
do.
do. So
Yes.
what are some of the questions or what are some of the concerns that you run across from women our age that keep them from going to school, following their dreams and all that stuff? What's your, how do you handle all them women?
So some of the things that I hear, and they were my own stories, which was I'm too old. I mean, that's like, that one's almost in everything, right? I look too old. I act too old. I don't know technology. I don't
Yes.
understand. I mean, I'm confused. And a lot of those things are choices.
Mm-hmm.
It is a choice to be confused. There is enough information out there right now that any woman who wants to go back to school or start something new can find her way forward.
Yeah.
I am proof of that. And so I like to just kind of challenge that. It's too late. I'm too old. Those are not true things. They're just simply not true. And I wonder where those messages came from. Of course, you're going to hear the therapist part of me come forward in this, but so much of what we believe about ourselves comes from early childhood, intentional or not. We got messages
Yep.
that taught us how to think about ourselves and the world.
Yep.
And so for some of us in our 50s now, we were still at that tail end of women don't do this. Men do this, but women don't do this. And so as we came into that early push of feminism, some of us still have some of those messages that might try to redirect us away from our
Sure.
goals.
Yeah, you're right. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So one of the things that I like to always talk to the women that I coach is, whose voice is that? Whose voice is that? With all respect, is that truly what you believe? Or is it something that you're carrying from the past? Is it a parental voice? Is it a spousal voice? Is it your piano teacher who said you would never amount to anything? I mean, I don't know whose voice it is, but I can assure you that you were created with gifts and you were designed to make an impact. So let's figure out how to get you in that space. And so we work
I
on
love
mindset.
that. I love that.
Yeah.
That's great. And you made a point about women are I technologically challenged, or I don't know anything about tech and blah 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 and the computer age, and it's all you got to do. And this drives me crazy because I didn't know anything about becoming a freelance writer, not a single solitary thing. So the internet is a wealth of information. Right. Go and Google it. You can watch YouTube tutorials till your eyes bleed, and you can learn how to do anything. Like, it's not everybody and I get that. I totally get that, because when we have to change and we got to try something new, it's scary at first. The very first thing is like, oh my God, it's too hard. I can't. We all say that, but then you realize, oh, it's not actually that hard. And yeah, I can. You just try. Just try something. Go and find a YouTube tutorial on, maybe you want to start a website. You're not sure how. Just go and watch it. It's really not that hard. It might be a little challenging, but it's not that hard, and anybody can do it.
Agreed.
Anybody can do it. We just use these bullshit excuses. I don't know how. It's too hard. I can't. I'm too old. Like, no. Like, stop.
Right. Well, that's the resistance inside of us, which, we have this brain bias. And even if it's not a healthy way to think, it keeps us safe, because our brain is designed to keep us safe. So we'll stay in maybe relationships, jobs, things that aren't really that good for us, but they're familiar. And I work with women a lot through this. Okay, so you have anxiety or fear around this change, but yet do you realize that that's your brain telling you that this is safe, because the outcome probably isn't the best outcome. It might be very unhealthy, but you know what comes next. Right. So it's the ability to break in and challenge some of that for each individual. I mean, a coach can help you, but a coach won't do the work for you. So like you said, Eva, YouTube, Google, ask a friend, keep networking till you find someone that can mentor you or help you find the next step. There is a wide network of women who are willing to help the other woman up the next step.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not in high school anymore. And I find that women over I don't want to stereotype a journalist, but over 40, 50, we're all about helping each other at this age. We're not about, did you see what she was wearing? We're not there anymore. So now we're like, oh, I have this, I can help you with this. And we just help each other out. And I just lost my train of thought because you said something and I was like, oh, and I was going to say something and I forgot what it was. Oh, you mentioned talking about women together. So Facebook has a million groups. Like, you can probably find a group for women
Yes.
over 50 who
Yes.
are, re-entering the workforce or school. I bet you there's a
Mhm.
group for that. I'm sure there is. And if not, I bet you there's meetups in your town. I know,
I was going to suggest meetup.
yeah,
Absolutely.
there's a
Mhm.
there's a place for there's whatever you're looking for is out there somewhere. You're going to find it. You're going to find women like you who want to do what you want to do, and you can all like help each other. It's like, actually, that's how me and Melaine we met in a mastermind
It's
group
true.
of
Yes.
entrepreneurs helping each other. And, collaboration is beautiful. So did you have any when you decided you were going to go back to school, did you have any resistance? Were you scared? Did you have those, oh my God, I can't, it's too late, I'm
Yes.
too old. So talk
Yep.
us through that.
Yep. So my resistance was, first of all, the cost. And I had the money, but boy, what if I take a bet and I bet on myself and I fail? And then there's a big chunk of money that's gone, right? And then the second piece was, well, I'm probably not smart enough.
Oh, right.
Because that had been a message that I had carried for a lot of my life. Well, I'm just not smart enough. And so I had to take an entrance test, and I rocked that thing. I was so pleased with my score. I couldn't
Yay.
believe it. And it was one of the
Really?
higher scores actually that the school had ever had. So that made me feel incredibly good about myself. So,
Yay.
myth number 2 knocked down. Myth number 1, I had the money, so I was going to invest in myself. Number 2, I'm not smart enough. Okay, that one's done. So number 3 was, oh, there's going to be math. And I quit doing math early in high school because math and I are not friends. And there was eventually some statistics work, and I rage cried and I made it through.
That's
So
funny.
that last little bit of resistance around something that I knew that I had let define me as not being good at. Well, is there math? Is there math? Well, there was some, but you know what? In the end, I overcame it and I graduated and I did very well.
Yay.
And it was okay that I rage cried. That's how I handled the stress of really redefining myself around math. When I knew that I could do it to the point I needed to, that felt like I was a completely new person.
That's awesome. I think a lot of us worry, and we worry so much about the things that never happen anyway, right? Oh, that
Exactly.
whole I'm not smart enough. Well, who says? Maybe you really are that smarter than you give yourself
Mhm.
credit for. Um,
Yes.
uh, why do I keep forgetting what I was going to ask you? I feel like maybe I should have did notes, but I hate notes. Notes are too, I'm not that good yet at notes. So women who are, so you felt a little bit of anxiety. So women who are dealing with that, oh, Melaine, I don't think I'm smart enough, or I don't say whatever. How do you handle, like, what do you share some of the, if you will, share a couple
Sure.
of tips or things that you do with your clients that help women get over that I'm not, insert bullshit excuse here.
Mhm.
How do you help them get over that hump and help them navigate that all those limiting beliefs into, to going back to school and stuff like that?
Well, for when I work with women that come specifically with a goal, and this is pretty common, I do with women that have a goal or feel like they're not going to be able to. One of the simplest things I do, it's an exercise, and I just call it the I am exercise. And I just have them while they're on, because my coaching is virtual. So while they're on camera, I have them write the words I am, and then I have them put their name, whatever feels like their most comfortable name, whether it's like a pet name or their full name. And then I ask them to just write about themselves. And what typically happens is all the garbage comes up first. I'm
Right.
old, I'm scared, I might be alone, I might not have enough money, I'm not as smart as I need to be, all this stuff. And I can watch them sometimes on camera physically transition through some of this really heavy emotion. And then I ask them to flow into the positives about themselves, the things that they know that are strong. And that's where we end the exercise. Then we go back into the coaching. And so what we do then is take some of those positive beliefs and we reframe, or I'm sorry, the negative beliefs, and we reframe them. So really what's happening is when somebody says, that I'm scared, what they really want is a really good outcome. So that's a positive. It's a positive that you want a really good outcome for your life,
Mm-hmm.
but it's coming up as a negative feeling. So how do we then plug into celebrating that you want a positive outcome, and what do we do to use that fuel and momentum to go ahead and push you forward. Yes, you're scared, but you want to do a really good job. So let's talk about the positivity that can exist within the feeling of being scared.
Right. I think what happens, I should say this personally for me, what happens is that because of my fear of failure and because you're no good, you're stupid, you're a loser, you're a failure, you're no good for nothing, you'll amount to nothing, blah, blah, blah. All those bullshit thoughts that we have in our head all the time. Right.
Yes.
So why am I forgetting what I want to say all the time? I think you're like making me nervous, Malene.
Oh, no.
Because you're so like, I'm like, oh, I just want to be like her when I grow up.
Okay. Hold up.
Seriously, look at you. So hang on. We're cool. We're just gonna keep rolling with this. So all those limiting beliefs keep us afraid of doing things because we want to know that before I do this, can you promise that I'm not going to fail?
Right.
Before
guaranteed results. We want a guaranteed outcome.
Yeah. Can you just say just tell me it's going to work out? Is it going to be okay? Just talk because I don't want to do this. If I think I'm going to fail again, I'm not interested in doing it. Could you just tell me I'm going to be okay?
Yeah, it's so true.
And
we do. We want that sense of like comfort that it's going to be okay. And there's a safety net. And sometimes what we have to remember is we are our own safety net. One of the things that many of us didn't learn to do was to trust ourselves and to hold on to ourselves. What I mean when I say that is other people's opinions do matter, and we do need to be in community. We need to be in relationships. But, our core, trusting ourselves, believing in ourselves, knowing that we have that what we need to create what we want. And if it's something very, very simple, or maybe something quite a bit more complex, we can count on ourselves. Mm-hmm. And when we have our own back, that helps mitigate some of that anxiety. When we come back down to it and say, but I know me and I love me and I'm going to do what honors me and what I'm ready to do. Yeah. So that whole idea of holding on to oneself and settling into your own identity as a person of worth, value, and designed to do something that impacts the world, whatever size impact.
Yeah, because they've never done that before. Women have never, we don't honor and care and respect and love ourselves.
Most of us
We're too busy working, worry about everybody else our entire lives, right? Yeah. So here we are at 55 years old and the universe is saying, okay, you get to do whatever you want now and you get to love and honor and respect yourself. You're all on your own now and you just kind of go, oh, I don't know how to do any of that. I can't do it.
Right. Well, you're right. And we reach for things then to buffer, as Brooke Castillo says, we buffer. So then maybe we just, stay in a place where we're serving others. And again, it's a beautiful thing, but it might keep us from actually taking that next step. Or we come up with excuses why we can't start, whether it's money, I'm too old, energy, my knees need to be replaced, which again is a real thing in the world. Sure. But, we sometimes will look for reasons to keep ourselves hidden, because confronting your own self-worth and moving towards internal growth is a lot of work, and it can be really scary. So there's a lot of resistance around that for many of us. You're not alone in that. If you feel that is a common human experience. Yeah,
we don't know how to love ourselves or respect ourselves. We don't know many of us don't know how to do things on our own. We can't navigate the world. Because we're alone for the first, like you were, and I was alone for the first time in my entire life. And I was in my 50s and I just kind of went, oh, what do I do now? Like, I don't even know. So, and because we move into that scared, well, I'll just stay here, I'm okay, it's not that bad, my life's not that bad, I'll just stay here, it's okay. Right. But there's this whole other world outside of us that we really want. I want to try that, I want to do that, and maybe I want to go back to school, maybe I want to change my job, maybe I want to leave my country, and we have all these little things and we just look at them and we never actually try. So I always tell women, could you just try one thing, just take one thing today. Just, start small. Today, tell yourself you love yourself.
Right.
Just look in the mirror and say, I love you. I think you're fucking beautiful. Just do that today, like just little baby steps. And then
it's so true.
And it's hard.
It is hard. And one of the things that I come back to with my clients is, are you self-rejecting? Before they've rejected you, before the school says no, before, I don't know, the dating app, before you hear a real no, have you already rejected yourself?
Yeah.
It's true. And that's a hard question to ask, because then it comes back down to, how are you holding on to and valuing yourself?
Yeah,
And what is your core identity? Do you see your worth? Do you see your value? And so that self-rejection piece definitely can step right in front of many of us and prevent us from ever starting. We just
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And then we just stay where we are. It's okay. Oh, my life's not that bad. It's okay. And that's what it
That's the
is.
classic.
It's okay. I'll just stay here. It's not that
Mhm.
bad.
Right,
But it's not, but
exactly.
it's not about just staying comfortable and my life's okay. I'll just say it's all about those dreams and goals and all the things that you want to do that bring your life joy. Like, because most of us haven't had that ridiculous joy, besides raising your kids, because that brings you joy. But other than that, like, what brings you joy? You still want those things. Like, don't just think, oh, it's okay. I don't really need that anyway. Yeah, you do. Fuck yeah, you do. Everybody needs joy in their life. You stop talking yourself out of it. And I think women talk themselves out of it an awful lot. They just talk themselves out of it. We probably go on for hours. So we should probably just kind of wrap this up so we don't go hours and hours. So in your practice, if you will, if I can call it that, what is it that you focus mostly on helping women do? And then I'm going to I'll get you to give me your links, and I'll drop your links down below. But
Sure.
what's your if you will, the passion that you drive that where you help the women the most? What is it?
It's more than enjoy. I love helping women navigate anxiety, boredom, and frustration. I love when women come to me and they feel stuck and they know that there's something that's calling to them or something that's awakening inside of them, and they're a little afraid of it,
Right.
but they're ready to go ahead and explore it. And so I love working with the client that says, I don't know who I am anymore. I've lost myself. That's one of my favorite clients.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, or the client who says, I know I want to make a change, but I'm scared. I love working with women who feel anxious, stuck, frustrated, and bored. I just do. I love helping them, supporting them. They have to do the work, and we both agree with that. Every person's got to go ahead and engage at their own level, the work.
Yeah.
But the support that I offer is tremendous, because it will help you begin to consider the messages that you have, challenge your mindset, and take that first, like you said, baby step, micro step, whatever it might look like.
Yeah.
Because that truly is the beginning of a whole new life.
It really is. Yeah, it really is. And because I remember when I had just left my last relationship, this goes back when I was still in Canada, and I left my last relationship, and for the very first time, I was 51 or 52. I always forget how old I was. I was alone. Right. And I was like, who, what do I do now? Who am I? I don't even know what I want. And I knew what I didn't want, because we all know what we don't want, right? It's easy to, I know I don't want this. Okay. But what do you want? I don't care what you don't want. I want to know what you do want. But most of us don't know, because we've spent our entire lives making sure everybody else is pleased, and we've never pleased ourselves. So that came out wrong. So
no, it came out perfectly right, because that nurturing caregiving thing, it's real and it's beautiful, and we want to use it, but it goes into overdrive, and then we no longer know what is fun for us.
Exactly.
Or our dreams, our goals, or our hopes. We just
because they've always been on the back burner, and they've always been maybe you want to travel the world and save orphan kids, but that's something that you've wanted to do your entire life, but you never did. And now that you're by yourself, well, now you can. You've been talking about it for years. And that's how I ended up, and this is kind of funny, because that's how I ended up in Central America, because for years, because winters in Canada are brutal beyond anything you can even imagine, brutal, where I come from, Northern Ontario. So my dream, for the longest time, it just was this little cloud bubble over my head. I just wanted to spend my winter somewhere warm. I never wanted to see snow for the rest of my life. That was my dream for the last
real.
Oh my God, for years. I'm can't I just spend winters, because all the snowbirds do that. Can't I just spend winters somewhere where it doesn't snow all those rich people do? I want to be like those rich people. And never once did I think that I could actually pull it off. It was always just a dream, until when I left my relationship. And I was by myself and I thought, could I actually do this? Maybe I can. Like, maybe I can go spend my winters in Central America. I don't know how, but maybe I fucking can. And I did. And it's like you said earlier, it's messy, it's frustrating, it's ugly, it's not easy. None of that's easy, but whoo, honey, it's so rewarding. I mean, like, look at you. You can go like, look at my life now. I created the life that I love, as you did, right? You can say, I created the life that I love. And women can do that.
They can, no matter what the age is, they can
absolutely do that. You're a star. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I
It
love this
so much
interview.
fun.
I know. I love this interview so much. I wish you could talk for a day. I wish you were like here. We could have like coffee and shit.
That would be fun too.
I know. You should come and visit Guatemala. It's pretty awesome here. I'm going to thank you so much, Melaine. I'm going to drop some links down below. I mean, me and Melaine do the same thing, but we're not in competition. It's women helping women. So maybe Melaine is more up your alley. Maybe I am. Doesn't matter. Just get help. There are women who want to help you. It doesn't matter who you choose. It doesn't matter if you do or don't. It doesn't matter if you decide to read a book. Just take a step.
Right.
All we ask is just take a step to improve your life and to live the life that you want to live.
Absolutely.
That's all it is. So I'm going to drop some of her links down below. Please check them out. Share the video, like, comment, subscribe. Do you have a YouTube channel? No, you don't, right?
I don't, but let me give you, my website is midlifeismagical.com.
Okay.
I'm gonna one word, of course. Yeah. Okay. And then I'm on Instagram, Midlife is Magical. That's me.
Midlife is Magical.
I chose that after my divorce back in 2018. I thought, you know what? I'm going to make this magical. I'm not going to go with the crisis theme. We're going with the magical theme.
Midlife really is magical.
Midlife is magical. It can be. Absolutely can.
It's amazing.
Thank you for the time. I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate your generous sharing of your platform. I really, really do.
You're awesome. I love
and
you.
I think that, thank you. Any woman that decides to coach with you is going to get a fun ride to the top. That's for sure.
Woohoo! Buckle up, bitches. Here we go. Thanks, Melaine. And I'm going to drop links. And I hope you all, thank you very much for being here. Thank you all for listening, watching, and all that good stuff. And I will catch y'all back here on the next show. Goodbye from Guatemala.
Bye-bye.